There are some people who are blaming this on Trump. And look, I can see why they do that. The way they're coming at Trump is these. I'm talking now about Canadian right of center conservatives. Is they say, look, this Poilievre guy was ahead in the polls. He would have won if it wasn't for tariffs, if it wasn't for Trump's rhetoric about making Canada the 51st state. This caused the Canadians, the anti-Trump feeling among the Canadians, to coalesce around Carney. And that's really what cost Pierre Poilievre the election. However, I think that this line of reasoning is missing one element, and that is the reaction of Pierre Poilievre to what Trump was saying and doing. Poilievre basically went into a very anti-Trump posture, and he's like, we reject Trump, his behavior is irresponsible. So think about it. What happened really here is that the conservatives in Canada, and there are a lot of them who like Trump, became alienated from Pierre Poilievre because he was bashing Trump. And so ultimately, Poilievre narrowed his own base to the anti-Trump conservatives in Canada. Well, come on. You expect to win an election? So what I'm getting at is, as smart as he is, Poilievre was running a playbook very similar to a Jeb Bush, very similar ultimately to a Paul Ryan. This is a guy who was, in a sense, the conservatism of the past. And we're in a different era. In some ways, Trump's behavior is not totally surprising, because what Trump is saying is look, I want to negotiate with the Canadians. And Trump even slyly admitted that because the Liberals are such wimps, he's like, I might get a better deal out of this guy Carney, because after all, by and large, a Liberal is going to bend more easily than a conservative. So Trump is looking at it from the American point of view. And from the American point of view and from the negotiating point of view, it might even be better to have a guy like Carney. But it's not better from the Canadian point of view. And so I feel bad for Canada. But look, I don't think that the Canadians, it looks like a lot of the boomers, the baby boomer type, these are the people who are reflexively anti-Trump. These are the people who pivoted to Carney. These are the people who have essentially sealed the fate of Canada over the next several years. And I don't think it's going to be a good fate. But the reason I don't think that Trump is the main factor here is that the Canadians have seen for themselves how badly their country has done under the party that's ruling it. And so for them to vote for the party to continue, it would be very similar, by the way, to America voting for Kamala Harris.